Hello and welcome to the Spiritual Response Association's SRT Practitioners Clearing. This is something that we do every other week here on this YouTube channel. And if you enjoy it, we would very much like you to subscribe. And once you subscribe, you hit the little bell icon, and that lets you know when a new video has been uploaded. We'd also like to encourage you to donate to the SRA, going to www.spiritualresponse.org, and you can /donate, and please be generous and allow us to continue our work teaching the work of SRT and Robert Detzler throughout the world. So tonight's guest is Carla Marie. She is an SRT teacher and SPR teacher. She has been for a very long time, and she is here to give you some wonderful healing affirmations, and followed by a meditation. And I hope you enjoy.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm Carla Marie. As you know, I am a SRT teacher, consultant, and a minister. I took my first class in 1999 with Robert. So I've been doing this a long time, and it's one of my joys. So I love doing this work. All of my information is on the SRA webpage if you decide you want to get in contact with me. And what I'd like to do today is begin with a prayer affirmation to bring us into presence, into the present moment, and to let the rest of the day go, and to affirm our divinity. And then I'm going to state an intention, and we'll talk about judgment and blame just briefly, and I'm going to lead you through a little process that really is powerful in helping to release it. And then we'll do a meditation. And hopefully we'll have time for some questions if you have any at the end. And I do want to make sure, can everybody hear me okay? Okay, good, great, wonderful. All right, so this is a prayer affirmation that comes from Catherine Ponder. It's one that I always like, and I've used it a lot. I've adapted it a little bit. So just move into your heart. Divine order is now established in me by the power of indwelling spirit. Divine order is now established in my mind, my body, and my affairs by the power of the indwelling spirit within me. I am in divine order. My mind is in divine order. My relationships are in divine order. My body is in divine order. Every phase of my world is in divine order. Divine order heals and prospers and guides me now. So, my intention, I always like to state an intention, just like we do when we prep for work, is to ask for the presence and power and love of spirit to be with us during this meeting. And I like to ask High Self to prep each of us for work, because they know how to do that for all of us, and as a group as well. My intention, in addition to working with spirit and the spirit within each of you as spirit, is to, in the highest, most loving good, release and heal as much of the blame and the judgment that this whole COVID-19 pandemic quarantine experience has brought up for the many, many people that I've been working with, at least. And I've when you read the news, when you talk to people, it's everywhere. And it doesn't matter what your stance is or how it's affected you, it's affected everybody. And we know that it's in divine order spiritually, but we're here in physical bodies and we have emotion. And the emotion is the part that gets us when we feel angry, or we feel upset, or we feel alone, or we feel we've lost our job, or people are sick, maybe somebody's lost a loved one. It's turned our worlds upside down in many, many ways. And so I've had a judgment and a lot of blame come up for a lot of my clients, and Spirit directed me to work with this today. You know, maybe you might be blaming the president or the governor or the lieutenant governor or the virus itself or the people that you're quarantined with. There may be self-blame. There may be judgments of how it's being handled. It's all over the map for a lot of different people. So what I'd like you to do is to take a moment and let yourself feel wherever this is landing for you. Like there's a person that it just triggers you. I know I've limited my news, the world news that I listen to, because I get triggered by it. And so we have to take those actions to keep our vibrations high, but we're gonna help ourselves a little further today. So take a moment. If you need to write something down, write it down. But if there's anyone you're judging, anyone you're blaming, the situation, like I say, the virus itself, governments, whatever it is, people who are wearing masks, people who are not wearing masks, it's all over the map. So just take a moment and let yourself know where and how you're being triggered, and then we're going to release that. Okay. So the process I want to lead you through is something that I use in my practice a lot. It's not spiritual response therapy. It's called Ask and Receive. And it was developed by Sandy Radomski and her good friend, Tom Althofer, and Tom's wife, Pam Althofer. And it's a form of energy psychology. And so it fits nicely with spiritual response therapy, because in this process, we're calling upon the power of the word and making statements that are quite powerful. I love it because there's 5 statements, and it really addresses emotional levels, which SRT does in the moment. And when we clear those underlying past life energies and other life energies, we move into choice, but then it's easy to get triggered all over again, particularly if we have a pattern of those kinds of emotions over and over and over. And so that's what I find this little process really helps to address. That's basically what I wanted to tell you about that. Okay. So there are 5 statements. It's fairly repetitive, but I'm going to lead you through, 5 of these. This is called Simple Ask and Receive. It has quite a lot of depth to it, but I'm just giving you a simple form right now. And what I want you to do is, after each statement, you're going to be making those statements out loud to yourself, if you're in a place where you can speak out loud and you feel comfortable. If not, just repeat in your mind. And I'm going to ask you, Bill, can you repeat after me?
Sure.
Okay. So all of you will be repeating with Bill, okay? So we're calling upon the part of ourselves that has constant and always access to higher consciousness. And we work, we have aspects of ourselves that are way beyond soul, that have never felt separate from spirit. And that's a reality, even though in bodies and working on a soul level often in our bodies, we can feel that separation. So when I say There's a part of my being that already knows. That's the part of ourselves that we're accessing to in conjunction with spirit and high self. Okay? So take a deep breath. And some people find it helpful to close their eyes. Other people just soften their gaze. But you want to turn inward and focus on what you're saying to yourself. Okay? There's a part of my being.
There's a part of my being.
Oh, wait a minute. I have to back up a minute. Sorry.
It's all right.
All of those things that you wrote down that are personal to you about your blame and your judgment, I'm going to be, you'll know whatever your list is. It might be one energy or emotion. It might be a list of them. But when I say that already knows how to heal and release blame and judgment, your list is encapsulated within those two words, blame and judgment. So we don't have to make this great big long statement every single time. Okay? All right, now we'll begin. All right, take a breath. There's a part of my being.
There's a part of my being
That already knows.
That already knows.
How to heal and release.
How to heal and release.
And completely let go of.
And completely let go of.
Blame and judgment.
Blame and judgment.
And all it represents.
And all it represents.
And that part of my being.
And that part of my being.
Is willing to inform the rest of me now.
Is willing to inform the rest of me now.
It's doing so now.
It's doing so now.
With grace and ease.
With grace and ease.
My mind, body, and spirit.
My mind, body, and spirit.
Are receiving this information now.
Are receiving this information now.
And then take a breath. Information transfer.
Information transfer.
Is now complete.
Is now complete.
Okay, so we're going to make another statement. There is a part of my being.
There is a part of my being.
That already knows.
That already knows.
It is completely safe.
It is completely safe.
To heal and release.
To heal and release.
And completely let go of.
And completely let go of.
All blame and judgment.
All blame and judgment.
And all it represents.
And all it represents.
And that part of my being.
And that part of my being.
Is willing to inform the rest of me now.
Is willing to inform the rest of me now.
It's doing so now with grace and ease.
Doing so now with grace and ease.
My mind, body, and spirit.
My mind, body, and spirit.
Are receiving the information.
Are receiving the information.
And a breath. Information transfer is now complete.
Information transfer is now complete.
Okay, good. We're going to do a couple more of these statements. There is a part of my being.
There is a part of my being.
That already knows.
That already knows.
How it is fully possible.
How it is fully possible.
For me to heal and release.
For me to heal and release.
And completely let go of.
And completely let go of.
Any and all blame and judgment.
Any and all blame and judgment.
And all it represents.
And all it represents.
And that part of my being.
And that part of my being.
Is willing to inform the rest of me now.
Is willing to inform the rest of me now.
It's doing so now with grace and ease.
It's doing so now with grace and ease.
My mind, body, and spirit.
My mind, body, and spirit.
Are receiving this information.
Are receiving this information.
And a breath. Information transfer is now complete.
Information transfer is now complete.
Okay. There is a part of my being.
There is a part of my being
that already knows
that already knows
how I fully deserve
how I fully deserve
to heal and release
to heal and release
and fully let go of
and fully let go of
all blame and judgment
all blame and judgment
and all it represents.
and all it represents.
And that part of my being
And that part of my being
is willing to inform
is willing to inform
the rest of me now.
the rest of me now.
It's doing so now
It's doing so now
with grace and ease.
with grace and ease.
My mind, body, and spirit
My mind, body, and spirit
are receiving the information.
are receiving the information.
And take a breath. Information transfer is now complete.
Information transfer is now complete.
And we'll do one last one. There's a part of my being
There is a part of my being
that already knows
that already knows
how I no longer need to let
how I no longer need to let
blame and judgment
blame and judgment
and all it represents
and all it represents
run my life.
run my life.
It's over now.
It's over now.
It's in the past.
It's in the past.
And that part of my being
And that part of my being
is willing to inform the rest of me now.
is willing to inform the rest of me now.
It's doing so now with grace and ease.
It's doing so now with grace and ease.
My mind, body, and spirit
My mind, body, and spirit
are receiving this information.
are receiving this information.
And take a breath. Information transfer is now complete.
Information transfer is now complete.
Okay, very good. So take a couple more deep breaths. And I'm going to ask you to stay in this internal space and then lead you. Spirit's going to lead this meditation. I just follow. So we'll just begin. Most of you have your eyes closed. I like you to have your feet flat on the floor if that's possible. And take another couple of big, deep breaths. And fully, fully, fully let the day go. Concerns, worries, discomfort. And continuing to breathe, let yourself settle more deeply into your chair. And allow the weight of gravity to assist you in connecting to earth, to grounding. Feeling your body relax, feeling tension and stress and worry drain away, feeling your shoulders drop, the tension around your eyes, any tension in your jaw and your neck, rolling down and away. Feel the base of your tailbone. Be aware of the energy there in your tailbone. And allow all this tension and all the stress and all the cares and worries and concerns of the day for yourself or others or the world, planet, drop like an anchor going overboard to the very core and center of Earth, to that hot, fiery core. There's no effort. It's just letting go. And then become aware of the bottoms of your feet. And allow all those little chakras on the bottoms of your feet to open. And as they open, Earth rises up to meet your body with its loving, stable, solid energy. And it flows like water in a glass, filling your feet and your ankles and your legs, filling the whole lower part of your body. Allow it to flow wherever it's needed. And as earth energy fills you, move to your heart. You can even place your hand on your heart. And we invited earlier the presence of spirit. So as you focus on your heart, allow your awareness of spirit's presence there in your heart. Feel spirit's love there. Feel spirit's presence. Feel spirit's joy. And as your heart fills, let your heart widen, expand, so that it fills even more fully with spirit's love and light and joy and healing. And as your heart begins to overflow, allow it to widen and expand even more fully. And again, filling and feeling spirit's love and spirit's joy and spirit's healing and spirit's forgiveness. And as we rest in this love and power and forgiveness and joy of spirit, we allow ourselves to receive. So take in on all levels of your being, in all your bodies and minds, from your heart, the love and forgiveness of spirit. And allow yourself, each cell, to fill with it so that you embody spirit's love and spirit's forgiveness and spirit's joy. And in this embodiment, you know you can forgive yourself. And you know that you can forgive anyone you held blame and judgment of. And as your heart fills even further, our hearts connect, all the many of us, and our individual heart as one with Spirit connects with all the other hearts on this call in oneness with Spirit. And in our gratitude for Spirit's love and joy and presence, we embrace the goodness and the holiness and the beauty we experience as human beings in any and all circumstances. And in that embrace, we allow our appreciation and our gratitude to flow out to each other and beyond our circle here, to our neighborhoods and our cities and our towns, and the state, the country, and beyond that into the whole planet. So in this unity with Spirit's healing and Spirit's forgiveness and Spirit's love and Spirit's goodness and holiness and joy, we extend that to one another, and we extend it to all others. So rest in this place of peace for a few moments more. So take a deep breath. And take a couple more deep breaths. Be aware of yourself sitting in your chair. Maybe wiggle your toes and your fingers. And bring yourself all the way back. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. So be it.
So be it. Thank you very much, Carla.
You're very welcome.
Okay. I guess we will, we can open up the floor for any questions through the chat. If anyone has any questions specifically. We have a comment, very lovely. Thank you, Carla. Yes, thank you.
You're very welcome. My pleasure.
Yeah, that was really nice. That was really, really powerful.
Great, good.
Okay. Can I use this for something else other than judgment?
Oh yeah, you can fill in the blank with anything that
Mhm.
you want to release and heal and let go of. So absolutely, yes. And it's wise to add um, and all it represents, because that gets to those deeper levels
Right.
that we may not be conscious of.
Can you repeat again where you got the ask and receive?
Yes, they have a webpage. It's just www.askandreceive.org. O-R-G.
Okay. Put that in the chat for everyone.
And it's a really effective healing system just in and of itself, with used without spiritual response therapy as well.
Hmm.
And I sometimes use it just purely for that, for someone who can't quite go to belief in past lives
Hmm.
to the degree that we work with that with the SRT process.
Right. How
Um,
long have you been using the ask and receive with your clients?
how long have I been doing it?
Yeah.
Learned about this several years ago, and then I took training. Um, and they have videos, they have how-to videos,
Hmm.
and that sort of thing. I took their training in person. They have a basic and advanced training. I took it in 2016, I believe.
Oh, excellent.
And so I've been using it actively since then. Mostly before that, I used it for myself.
Okay.
Um, and so they have tons of information on their webpage. And I think now they have, I did a refresher course the end of last year online via Zoom. And I think they now have their basic and advanced classes. Um,
Oh, neat.
yeah,
Very cool.
yeah.
I've got a question from Janice. Carla, do you use this with SRT clients after a clearing to help them resolve some of their emotional energies?
Yeah, I do it sometimes in the middle of a session. So I might be doing, for an example, I had somebody the other day who got extremely, um, he was really wound up, and he was really, really in his story, and he had a lot of emotion fueling that. And I find that my SRT process starts to slow down because there's so much, all that level of emotion creates a level of resistance. And there's also, even though we don't want it, it's what we've lived with
Mm.
for however long. And so I just stopped and said, okay, we're going to do some releasing statements. And sometimes I actually use the releasing statement that we
Mhm.
use in SRT, but I use there's many different kinds of statements that you can use, and there's a couple that I use a lot for trauma, because that's really what happened. He had a memory in the
Yeah.
middle of this session of something that turned out to be traumatic for him, and
Mhm.
so we used this statement, and it really, he just calmed straight down, and we went on with the session, and it was really powerful because he had some big awarenesses, and he was smiling and feeling happy at the end of this session. It was a long session, but it was good.
Excellent. Excellent.
It was great. So that's kind of how I use it. Um, like I said earlier, it is in and of itself a wonderful way to approach mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical blocks
Mm.
and pain, discomfort as well.
Awesome. Okay, I've got a another question here. Are the results better if you journal in conjunction with the exercise or immediately afterwards?
I don't know necessarily. To me, you might journal if you want to, your awarenesses, but I wouldn't rehash the story.
Hmm.
I would probably, if I needed to write something down, I would do that beforehand, just more than anything to get clarity on what I'm feeling. But it's really about what you're feeling. Um, and
Awesome.
so you have to let yourself, and you may not, um, you might want to think of the incidents. This is also Sandy uses muscle testing because she works with people a lot in person. At least she did before COVID, and so we used what's called felt sense tonight. How does it feel? But you
Hmm.
can do this with muscle testing and ask questions about where the person's stuck. So there's a couple of different approaches.
Okay, excellent. All right. Any more questions from the audience? Oh, okay. Completely different subject. So everyone using the healing virus symbols for COVID-19 at a global level. Um, and also Kathleen Butler is mentioning that some of these statements remind me of SPR meditations. Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. They do.
Okay. So as far as the virus symbol, I think this was introduced in a meeting that we did some time back, and we introduced it. So in case anybody doesn't know, this is the book. This is the spiritual healing book, and virus is towards the back
There it is.
it's V.
Yeah.
And this. Ah, there you go.
Just got it. Yeah.
Yeah, nice big. Oh wow, yes. Let's see. Therapies for hope. Although, since we have this on speaker view, we can't. Anybody else can't see this, so I'll just put that up there for everybody to see. That's the virus symbol, and generally, well, why don't you explain how it works?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, you basically just put your hand on the symbol,
Mm-hmm.
and um, it's applied. Those healing energies are applied, and Robert underneath, underneath any of those patterns will have a list of other patterns you can use in conjunction with that particular one. And I would absolutely ask that it be applied globally. I don't see why you can't do that, because if someone's willing to receive it, it's possible.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Kathleen says the symbol is not always able to be sent to someone or a group. If Spirit said you can, great, but mostly the person applies it to them or applies chart 7. All
Right.
right. Okay, so another question is it better to get the root feeling, such as instead of I deserve to be a healthy weight, say I deserve to honor myself or I deserve to feel good in my body? I think we're talking again about the ask and receive.
Ask and receive. The way you would word that, yes, you would say there's a part of my being that already knows how I deserve to feel good in my body.
Mm-hmm.
And then what you're going to, this is a whole different, what we did was simple ask and receive, which is just making statements. So you could go through the basic simple statements are, the part of my being already knows how to feel good in my body. It's safe to feel good in my body. It's possible to feel good in my body. I deserve to feel good in my body. Those are the basic statements. And so you are asking for what you want. And then you may, if you're doing it purely, you're going to find out what's blocking you. It's just like SRT. We know our desire, what's blocking us. And that's where your muscle testing and your felt sense comes in, because you're going to say, okay, how true is that?
Mm-hmm.
I make that statement. I feel good in my body. Okay, where do you feel resistance? On a scale of 0 to 10, how true is it? And if it's not a 10, then you've got some kind of something there that's in the way. And then that's where you start releasing your emotional level or whatever else it could be. That's why I use it in conjunction with SRT, because we can go to the root.
Right.
We'll go beyond a childhood experience or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that sounds great. Any other questions, everybody? No, I think.
If anybody has further questions, you have my information on the webpage, so you can email me, and I'm happy to answer questions.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, before we get going, and we close this up, I just want to just for anybody who is a SRT teacher who is listening to this either live or listening to the replay on YouTube, I'd like to encourage you to reach out to me to do just like what Carla Marie just did, and lead us through a small lesson and a meditation. And we'd love to have you. We're planning on doing this every 2 weeks, and we'll post it on YouTube, and we'll um, and to outreach to the public and just let people know who we are. It's a great way to advertise your practice and encourage your students to come and see you. So why don't you provide us? I'm going to be putting all your information on the show notes, but why don't you just give us a quick overall how people can reach you?
Well, it's kind of crazy, but I don't have a web page.
Oh
I
no!
know. Don't ask me why, but anyway, Spirit just sends me people, so I have never gotten around to doing it. My email address is Carla Marie. You can see my name is spelled with a K, so it's KARLAMARIE99
Okay.
and my office phone is 214-521-8483. And I'll give you my cell phone number if you promise not to call me on it, but you can text or WhatsApp me
Yeah.
through my cell phone, which is 469-826-0211.
Excellent. Okay, excellent. Okay, and okay, we got on the chat. Excellent. So it's on the chat as well. Okay.
Okay, great.
So also, I just want to encourage anyone who is listening here to, these events here are totally free for you guys to attend anytime. We do these every couple weeks, and also on YouTube it is free. It is not necessarily free to put these things on, of course. So we would like to encourage you to donate, no matter how, if it's $5, $10, doesn't matter, to the Spiritual Response Association. You just go to spiritualresponse.org and /donate, and then you can donate any amount that you would like to help us continue our work, spreading the word of SRT throughout the world. And there you go. And so thank you all very much for attending. Thank you, Carla Marie. And with that, we will close our meeting tonight. Would you like to say some closing words or closing meditation for us as we head out?
Well, you could just take another deep breath and go back into your heart and feel the gratitude for this wonderful meeting tonight. And just extend that, let that flow out of you into our world. The more we do that, the more we can help heal everything that's going on. And I would just ask Spirit to bless all of you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone. Or good wherever you
Good
are.
morning, wherever you happen to be. Yes. Thank you.